This is Matt from Axeman Guitar Service, and today we're going to be checking out the Royal guitar by Bootlegger. In this video, we'll go over how to change your strings, as well as do basic setup operations. Of course, if you don't feel comfortable working on guitars, please take it into a guitar tech. In order to restring the Bootlegger Royal, we'll first need to remove the strings, and since this has a double locking tremolo, we'll first need to take this Allen key and loosen each of these string clamps at the nut and remove those. I really do recommend doing one string at a time. That way you won't have to make too many adjustments at the bridge. So we're just going to replace the low E string for now. So we're going to loosen that up. And once that's fully loose, then we'll have a look at the bridge side. We're going to take the same Allen key and unlock the bridge saddle, which is gripping the string until it slips out like that. And so when restringing it, we're going to take the string, which would normally have a ball end right here, and just cut that off. And then you're going to feed it into the bridge saddle right there. And then with that Allen key, simply just tighten that up. Now you don't need to crank down on it too hard, just a pretty good amount of pressure so that it's in there good, and you can kind of tug on it to make sure that it's secure. Then back at the headstock, we're going to feed the end of the string into the tuning peg. And you can string it up any way you like. I like the over-under method. So I give it a little bit of slack and loop it over the top. And then when I tighten up the string, I'll hold it down with my thumb so that the string end is kind of pinched in between the over wrap and the under wrap. And when that's tuned up to pitch, you can snip off any excess string. And you'll repeat that same process with the rest of the guitar strings. Once all strings are replaced and you've given them a good tug just to stretch them out, you're going to replace the nut clamps and tighten those down with the same Allen wrench. So make sure those are all in tune before you lock this down, because after you lock this down, all your tuning will be done at the bridge, which we'll talk about in a second. Again, you don't have to really crank these down, just a good amount of pressure in order to keep them secure. So once the nut is locked, all your tuning adjustments will be done with these fine tuning screws right here. To adjust the relief, you're going to need access to the truss rod under this cover here, so you'll remove that. And once you have access to the truss rod, you're going to insert a 4mm Allen key into the hole there. And if you want the neck to have more relief, meaning that it's more bowed, you'll turn the Allen key counterclockwise. Or if you want the neck to be straighter and have less relief, then you turn it clockwise. And then of course, replace the truss rod cover. If you want to raise or lower the action, you'll do that with a 3mm Allen key, and you'll adjust the action height with these two screws on either side of the bridge. And I do recommend doing that with the strings loosened, as to not wear out this little groove on the edge of the bridge. To set the intonation, we're going to be using a 2.5mm Allen key, and we're going to be loosening these screws that hold the bridge saddles in place. So in order to check the intonation, you're going to play the open string, make sure that is in tune, and then play it at the 12th fret. And if that's showing still in tune, then you don't need to adjust the saddle. Of course, if it's showing that the fretted 12th fret is showing sharp, you're going to want to move the saddle backwards. So you'll loosen up that screw and then you'll move the saddle towards the end of the guitar. If the fretted note is showing flat, then you need to move the saddle that way. And then once you've tested it a few times, moved it to just the right location, and it's showing perfectly in tune, then you can lock it down. If you need to adjust the spring tension of the trem system here so that it sits parallel to the body, as you can see it's a little tilted back, you're going to need access to this back panel. And once you're in here, you're going to take a large Phillips head screwdriver, and in this case we're going to loosen these screws so that there's slightly less spring tension. Or if you need to tighten it, then you'll go the opposite direction, of course, until the bridge is sitting level with the body. Loosen that a little bit more. You can also adjust the tension by having the springs either straight across, which is less tension, than diagonally. See, it's getting closer there. Just a little bit farther. And that's just about parallel to the body, so that's perfect. Then we'll close up that compartment again. As far as raising and lowering the pickup height, most pickup manufacturers recommend, when depressing the last fret, 5/64 is recommended on the bass side, and 4/64 is recommended on the treble side. All you need is a small Phillips screwdriver, and you'll just loosen the screws in order to raise the pickup or tighten them to bring the pickup down.
Thanks for checking out the Royal Guitar by Bootlegger.